writing it for ages. But I found this absolutely excellent website that had loads of best man speeches on it, so I literally copied it word for word from there. So I hope Bob and Sue don't find anything too advanced. Firstly, I liked the bridesmaids, who all look absolutely wonderful today. I'd all like to make do a round of applause for those. Also, thanks to the ushers, Scott, David and Chris, and little usher Elliot, for all doing a great job. All looking more like bouncers than ushers, apart from Elliot, obviously. It's a good job the children weren't invited, because they'd have probably made them cry. Dan and Sean have asked me to thank all the staff at Singleton Lodge for their hard work today and ensuring the day has gone as smoothly as possible. Big round of applause for them. Thanks for everyone here for coming today and all your kind gifts to Dan and Sean. I must admit, I didn't really know what to get Dan and Sean, and so I gave Dan a ring and said, "What do you want?" And he said, "Just get us some tokens," which was really handy because I just found some in the scruffy drawer that we'd not spent. So spend your £100 of Woolworths tokens very wisely. I'm sure you'll get something brilliant. And last but not least, I'd like to point out and say thanks to Sean for inviting us all and the focus of everyone's attention today. She looks absolutely amazing. I'm sure you agree, she looks radiant. Daniel, and obviously a round of applause for Sean. Dan, I'd like to say you look fantastic too. You look like a cross between George Clooney and Wayne Rooney. So a little bit about Daniel. Daniel is my brother. He's 2.5 years younger than me. I know. You all thought I was a younger brother, I'm not. He was always a small child, so I always had to look out for him, which wasn't hard to do because he never sat still. And I think if he were a child today, he would have been diagnosed with ADHD, but at the time he was diagnosed as an absolute pain in the arse. I remember once when he was about 3, I was supposed to look out for him, and in all fairness I was looking out for him, but I was looking out the window at him as he was dangling from the window frame by his fingertips. Because that day he was being a stuntman, and that was one of Daniel's many fads. It didn't last long. A few days later he was being a dog. And as all dogs did back in the 1980s, the early 1980s, he did a poo up the next door neighbour's garden, the next door neighbour's drive. And that's what Daniel was like. He threw himself into his roles. I remember it really well because as the dutiful older brother, I snitched on him to Mum and Dad. And quite rightly, they were absolutely fuming. Dad picked him up, rubbed his nose in it, sent him straight to his kennel. Like I said, he really threw himself into these roles, but it worked. He never pooed up anyone's drive. Eventually, Dan got fed up of eating dog biscuits and decided he would become a superhero. He was about 4 years old when he became Batman. He had a little grey costume, which he wore everywhere, with a blue cape, which he always kept on with a clothes peg. And unfortunately, Daniel was he had really serious dribbling problems. And his chin was always bright red because of it. And the clothes peg on his Batman cape aggravated the eczema. So whenever he was fighting banks, he always ended up with a little bleeding eczema chin. Which, Daniel liked that, but we had to get rid of the Batman costume, which, as luck would have it, somebody had just bought him a Spider-Man costume, which was really good because the Spider-Man mask soaked up the dribble on his chin and the eczema cleared up. And he spent the next 10 years dressed as Spider-Man. We had really good fun as children, and although I was a bit older than and a lot taller than Daniel, we were great pals. And to say that for such a little person of his age, his personality was a big one, and that enabled us to play as equals. I'm reading this, but I do mean it. Our childhood got even better when we met our good friends Scott and David. They're the same age as Dan, but when they were children, they were massive. The believe it or not, they're actually in the Guinness Book of Records for being the biggest children ever in history. But again, Dan's big personality helped him keep up with us big kids. And I look back on those days, and it always seemed sunny. And Mum and Dad would let us play out all day until Big Dave, Big Dave at the room would give us his whistle, and then it was time to come in. You want to give us the whistle now, Dave? Time to go home. Come on.
He's whistling. Pick that marrow up.
And we go our separate ways, our hands, faces and knees covered in mud. And we spend all day building dens and hunting for treasure in these tunnels. It's only recently I realised where we were playing was actually an industrial waste tip. And the tunnels we were hunting down were actually sewer pipes, and it wasn't mud on our hands and face and knees when we went home, it was actually poo. But we didn't care. And I wouldn't have changed our childhood for absolutely anything. So thanks, Dan, for being my best mate, and Scott and Dave for being our best mates. Daniel, he won't thank me for saying this, but he was a bit of a late comer to puberty. He was a late developer. But although he had the body and the voice of a child, and he had the mind of a teenager, and he had plenty of girlfriends. Surprisingly, girls from my year when I was actually struggling. Here was this little boy strutting around our school with his arm up there, around all the taller girls. Fair enough, they were minging. But Dan still managed to pull them. Don't worry, Sean, he never got past first base because he didn't want them to find out he had no pubic hair. In fact, I remember the day Daniel got his first pubic hair. It was so clearly. He ran into my bedroom with his pants around his ankles shouting, Mark, look, I've got my first pubes. I was really happy for him. But he didn't have to drive all the way around to my house. He could have just sent someone. He could have just sent me a picture on Facebook. Now here we are on Dan and Sean's wedding day, 6 years after they met at Capita. Sean was a junior, Daniel was 10 years her senior. It might have been love at first sight, but Daniel, for legal reasons, Dan was washing my hair in his shop one day, a few weeks ago, and we were chatting, and I said, Dan, what first attracted you to Sean? I'm not sure what he said because I had shampoo in my hair. But he said she gave a fantastic blow dry. That's Daniel though, he's a professional all-round, so he's thinking about work. Seriously though, I'm so happy you found each other, and I'm honoured to be stood here saying these words on your special set. Before I finish though, I hope that I've helped introduce you to the Daniel I have known, and the pleasure of knowing all my life. I always say that you never truly know a person until they have handed you a piece of their soul. And there's no better way of seeing into a person's soul than to experience a piece of that person's poetry. Which is why we are all so lucky today, because I, with a little help from my friend Sean, I've managed to get my hands on a piece of Daniel's own poetry. And strangely enough, even though Daniel wrote this poem when he was about 15, years before he met Sean, I think maybe somewhere in his subconscious he knew. The poems, two of them, both untitled, and the first one is this. It doesn't matter that we haven't spoken, I know your name. I see you every day, I look at you, you look at me. We're joking, but tomorrow there'll be something in the way. Why, oh why is it so hard? Why, oh why is it so hard? Can it be written in the stars above us? Why, oh, why can't you see me? Why, oh, why can't you see me? It only costs your love for me to be free, which I think is beautiful. It's the second poem that really touches me and really, you see, really deep into Daniel's soul. Living in a daydream all my life doesn't seem so bad when you're living with mice.
This was a good one.
Take me down to the Wonderland where rabbits wear clothes and the man in the hat says what goes. And that's it.
Psychedelic.
So, to end it all, can we all raise our glasses and toast Mr. and Mrs. Sorella?
Mr. and Mrs. Sorella.
Thank you.
Well done, Mark.
And